Pleasure to say hello to Miami Hurricane head coach entering his second year. An old teammate of Leon's, Mario Cristobal, joins us now. Coach, welcome in. How are you?
I'm doing well, gentlemen. Good afternoon.
All right, thanks for taking the time. We want to jump in on a couple of subjects, but kind of give us an idea of either positive or negative feelings that you got coming out of spring. In other words, how excited are you after the spring game?
Well, to me, it's almost like deja vu at our different stops over the last, coaching now 25 years is, when you go to a place and you got to rebuild it, year one's always going to be, it's going to have some things, right? And when you have to go through some things, you start really feeling out how you're going to lay a real foundation, not just some BS tagline. You're going to make sure that from a cultural standard standpoint, and then from a line of scrimmage standpoint, you're going to get people and things in place to be tougher, to be more resilient, to do the things that really good teams do. And we feel like that part was addressed early on in January and February, and it led to some really, really good hirings of our offense and defense coordinators, a couple other position coaches, and some more talent acquisition. And 23 players joined a very, very good core of just hard-working, tough-ass guys, and that led to a really good spring. So there's a lot of progress that has been made, and all we're doing is just keeping our heads down and working.
What's good, my brother?
What's up, Leon? How are you
doing? I'm doing great, man. Listen, I tell these guys all the time that when we played at Miami that we feared losing more than we enjoyed winning. That was the culture that was at Miami when I was there. Is that something that you're trying to implement into your camps now moving forward?
The biggest thing, Leon, we're working, I think, and a lot of it has already taken place, is instilling a level, like a standard from a work ethic standpoint, from a get after it standpoint, from a competitive nature standpoint, where you're just not going to give in at all costs. And you're going to carry that over to the classroom and other things in life. So, because that was part of it at Miami, that was so established when you and I got here that you were right. Like you walked in that locker room, you were afraid to pass gas. You know what I mean? It was like, holy crap, these guys they're going to hold us to a high standard. But, and we've made a lot of progress towards just relentless work ethic. And we're not all the way there yet, but it has improved. We got to understand the importance of preparation the entire year, how being in elite shape leads to victories in the fourth quarter, how studying a ton of extra film allows you to gain a step or two towards making a play, right? An angle, position on a ball, whatever it may be. We're gaining ground. I just think that the culture was, almost abandoned over the last several years, that we had to start from a very basic point to build that back up. And the progress has been really good, and everyone's really enthused. Like there's a strong vibe in the building about improvement and getting better. So it's been a really good spring.
Mario, within that culture, and I want to circle back a little bit, is the line of scrimmage aspect. And it turned for you at Oregon when the line of scrimmage became like the focal point for you guys. How close are you right now? And will these guys, the transfer guys like Branson Dean and Matt Lee and Thomas Gore, are those guys going to be immediate impact guys for you?
They are. They've made a huge difference. And it's almost identical. I remember flying to Oregon with an iPad and going, man, we better do something about the line of scrimmage, and there were a couple of young pieces, and then the Panay Sewells of the world come in, and all of a sudden, you're winning multiple Pac-12 titles. And on the plane ride back to this side of the country, that was the part that really stood out. It's like, whoa, that doesn't look like Leon Searcy at tackle. That doesn't look like some of these monsters that Miami's had in the past. And so we attacked it, addressed it right away. That's not knocking anybody that was here before. Just, you have to recruit at a certain level to have a certain level of success. And the line of scrimmage always takes more time. So you want to get those guys in the boat early so they could develop strength and conditioning, work their butts off, and just go, man, right? Become hardened, callous individuals that don't give a crap about anything except kicking butt and playing together. And there's been a lot of progress. Matt Lee's a badass. He really is. He's an excellent football player and an excellent leader. He was a great addition. And then, some of these young guys that have popped on here, they've done a great job. And then some of the older guys that have come back or coming off of injury, the iron sharpens iron thing is becoming more of a reality in practice, and it still has a ways to go, and we're just going to keep pushing until we get there.
A couple more for Miami head football coach Mario Cristobal on the Farron Farah phone line. Mario, I'm curious, since you arrived, versus where he is now. Tyler Van Dyke, how would you describe his evolution both as a player on and off the field?
Well, he's become more and more of a stronger leader. And the system that we have now, it clearly is better for, I would say, it's better for the skill set of the players that we have around the supporting cast. I mean, the O-line is upgraded, the tight ends, the backs, the receivers certainly have, and this allows a guy like that to play fast and free and use his talents that he's had so much success with in the past. And at the same time, when you go through a season of injury and a season that was provide that type of struggle and adversity, you grow. You grow or you crumble, And he's not a crumble type of guy. You learn a lot about yourself and your teammates, and you move forward. And he's done a great job with that. I think a lot of guys would have buckled and packed up and, headed for higher ground. And instead, the guy buckled down and he went to work. And so we're looking forward for a big year out of him.
Hurricanes head coach Mario Cristobal with us on XL Primetime. And when you marry up Tyler Van Dyke and the growth and what you're looking for from him, add to that, as you mentioned at the start of the conversation, Mario, the hiring of the coordinators. What do you think this offense will look like with Shannon Dawson and TVD?
Well, the part that's neat is that, Shannon goes back a long way. From the Hal Mummy days to the Todd Monken, coaching trees of throwing the football a certain way, while at the same time learning, during his time out there in the parts of the country that he was at, the way they ran the football at West Virginia and the way that he watched the way Baylor ran the football back when Art Browse was there, and then doing this his own thing and running, such concepts as counter and power and duo. I mean, he is a really, really well-balanced, high IQ, tremendous human being, as is Lance Guidry. And both their numbers, I think Shannon's numbers were in the top 10 universally, and Guidry was a top 5 and really number 1 in the country in several different statistical categories from playing good football and getting good players to play really hard and fast. And they're awesome people that can connect, and you got to have that. And right there, Big Leon will tell you, man, we had coaches that were on our butts, but they could connect, and at the end of the day, we weren't going to be denied because of that. And I think these guys have really done a great job helping us take steps in that direction.
Now, Mario, were there any particular guys this spring that on the offense or the defense side of the ball where you said, man, this guy had a hell of a spring, and he's got some big things coming out this season?
Yeah, well, you mentioned Matt Lee right away. I mean, that one stands out because you know how it is, man. If you're the center, there's a certain level of confidence that comes with the center. You could spot a center after looking around the room for 5 minutes because he has that kind of confidence. So obviously he stands out. I just think the wide receivers and tight ends took a massive step up, as did Henry Parrish. The linemen, there's a really strong chunk of guys in there that just became different. We're now about 328 to 338 across the board, and not in a bad way, in a really athletic and powerful way. And our numbers, we're reaching certain benchmarks in the weight room. So on the offensive side, there's a good number of guys, but you know what? They don't deserve sugar yet, man. We got to go to work.
Mario, I feel like if I cut you like 1,000 ibises run out of your veins, how do you get those guys now that, honestly, they're growing up. They didn't see these Dominic Canes teams. How do you get them to think that way?
Well, they know, and you got to go find them. I mean, look, either you love the game or you don't. And if you love it, you'll do anything for it. And playing football and putting together a team without coaching them, people that love the game and that are unselfish, it doesn't work, And don't get me wrong, everybody's different, and there's different personalities, and that's what makes it great. At the end of the day, man, you cut anybody open or you get bopped in the lip, everybody bleeds the same, right? I mean, everybody sweats the same way, and you want guys that are into those kinds of concepts, team concepts, competing, kicking butt, bringing out the best in each other, and that won't flinch or buckle when things get hard. So you just got to scour, man. You can't settle for the 5 clips of film where the guys looks like a superstar. You got to dig deeper, and And if you do that and you find the right guys, you'll have quicker success.
I'm sure we have a couple more questions from Leon regarding the current Canes, but since it is the NFL draft tonight kicking off, Mario, I do want to ask you about a couple of the guys that I know you really only got 1 year with, but that will be hopefully drafted over the course of this weekend. Tyreek Stevenson, Will Mallory, I think safe to say 2 of the big headliners. Will, obviously, with some ties here to the Jacksonville area. If you could speak to those 2 as well as maybe some of the other Canes who could be sleeper picks in this NFL draft.
Oh, they're absolute studs. I mean, they truly are. Those guys are. You can imagine, you go through a couple of coaching changes, right, and you come on back, and then you're going for your senior year, and it didn't work out like you wanted to, but you still gave everything you had. I mean, that's what a Hurricane is supposed to do. They are exceptional football players and people. Any team that gets them is going to be extremely fortunate because you're going to have guys that not only are talented, but they're made of the right stuff. They're going to work their butts off. There's several other teams in the next couple of days that we are hopeful will get drafted as well. They have certainly worked their tails off, and they deserve a shot.
A couple of guys locally that you might just throw a thought out for high schoolers like Jalen Rivers and those guys that, as Will Mallory did, went down to Coral Gables. How did they do coming out of the spring?
Rivers is an absolute stud, and he will be one of the better players in the conference and soon to be the country. He is 334 pounds, maybe more. Maybe that's in moon pounds, maybe 344. But he is a very intelligent, hard-working young man, tremendous representative of his family, the university. He is the right kind of guy.
Good.
Keep sending those kind of guys down here. Will as well.
Yeah. Now, Mario, we had Coach Johnson on the show about a year ago, and I told him how scarred I was by those 16-110s that we had to run back in the day. Please tell me that you've implemented that in your spring.
We do harder stuff than that now.
Oh, harder. Oh, love it.
What do we got?
Love it.
What do we
Love
got?
it.
Oh man! By the time Friday rolls around, man, these guys they're ready to sleep all week, and we got to wake them up just to make sure they're eating and hydrating. So, strength and conditioning and sports science in a good way has done a lot of things to help us just improve the way we train and whatnot. And so they could handle the capacity to handle like large load is high. So we Lee, I don't know if you and I could have. I don't know. We would have found a way, but man, wearing these monitors that tell you if a guy's grinding or if he's not, man, you're being put to the test now.
But Mario, you got to remember now, the 16-110s wasn't hard. It was the mental gymnastics that Coach Johnson and all the assistant coaches put on us while we were running them.
Well, the best one was when he lined us up after that 1 year and said, "You guys didn't win that national championship. Michael Irvin won that national championship."
I remember that.
He goes, "We're going to run 16 by the end of spring." He decided to do it day one after an hour of stations. That was a great day.
Yeah, it was a great day.
No, it's the best, man. Leon, those moments. I mean, honestly, I coach because of Coach Johnson and my high school coach. They made us vocational teachers, forever indebted in gratitude. And every day we grind because we know when Miami's done the right way, there's nothing like it. Brother, we got work to do, but we're going to get there.
I appreciate you. Hey, bro, appreciate you coming on, man.
Appreciate you anytime, brother. Take care of yourself. Love you, man.
Love you.